Joke Dealers Inc. Hot 5 with Rodney Perry.
Ladies, your man, he's sitting here right now. You sit next to him. If he get home and you try to do something kinky, something freaky, he'll let you go down there. You're like, baby, let me see what you've been doing all day. You're like, okay. You be like, ugh. Did you pee on yourself? A little bit. I mean, not a full pee-pee, but a little. This when men and women part ways. Fellas, you try to go down in that area, let your lady do something kinky, freaky, she ain't gonna let you go nowhere near that shit. You're like, baby, let me see what you've been doing all that shit. You don't wanna do that shit. Oh, buddy. You ain't gonna be telling your friends about
this. This is Hank Denson from Joke Dealers Inc. This is called Hot 5. My guest today is the one and only Rodney Perry, y'all. Give it up for my man.
What up, HD?
What's going on with you, man?
It's all good.
It is a privilege and a pleasure to have you in the Joke Dealer studio.
Indeed.
Yeah. So
welcome to the Rodney Perry studio.
I like what you're doing. Let me say this and give you my compliments and my accolades early. Yo, real dope. Okay. I don't know if you have a studio in there, assistants. I know you got a couple little millennials in there.
It's just me.
It's all you. So it's dope. If anybody don't know, go to all his Instagram, everything, the videos. Uncle Rodney, all that is dope. So look, let's get to it. Hot 5. This is when most comedians know what Hot 5 is. Hot 5, you come in, you give a hot 5 minutes of material. But this is the questions. I want to ask some of the comedians that I know around the world, that's some of the dopest dudes that I know, females, questions about comedy. So my first question is to you: why comedy?
Why comedy? Oh, man, great question. Why comedy? Because I figured out early on who and what I was. You know, I mean, I had a teacher in second grade that would let me tell jokes at the end of the day if I shut up, and so I was, you know, doing impressions and stuff like this very early on, and I also had a working knowledge of what stand-up was because my mother and them used to listen to comedy records.
Okay.
So Richard Pryor, Mons Mabley, you know, Red Fox. It was nothing for them to have some friends over and they would listen to that. And so I really kind of knew what it was even before I knew what it was.
Cool. So your first experience of comedy, did you hear it or did you see it?
I heard it.
You heard it. And that was who?
I heard it. That was probably Richard Pryor.
Okay.
That was probably Richard Pryor. And shortly thereafter, I became aware of Eddie Murphy. I think one of my boys got a copy of a cassette. It said Eddie Murphy comedian. And
that was it.
And it wasn't it, but it was definitely the beginning of it.
Okay. So how long have you been doing comedy to date? Like, how old are you in comedy years?
I'm old. How old am I in comedy years? You know what? Real deal math. I think you have a couple of different ages in comedy. You have the age you first walked on stage, which is probably close to 30 years for me.
Okay.
And then you have the age where it became a profession, and that happened in 1998. So that's
great insight. I never thought of it that way. That's great insight. What was your first show? Now I know that you're. Thank you for serving. I understand that you are a Navy vet. So when did that start? Did it start in the Navy?
No, it started before the Navy. I was in high school. Wow. I was in high school going in Monroe, Louisiana, playing little coffee shops, you know, but I really doing stand-up comedy in a dark little, you know, I can see the other comedians. There wasn't but like 3 of us in the whole city.
Wow.
And I remember, you know, getting dropped off by my mom. I'm doing the set.
Were you Rodney Perry then?
I'd never. Well, I was going to have a stage name at one point.
What was that?
I was going to be Rodney the Entertainer.
Okay.
And I became aware of Cedric, and I was like, yo, I can't use that name. And so I always wanted to have Rodney Perry because I knew I had become distant from certain parts of my life, you know, when we moved and stuff. So I want people to go, I used to know a guy named Rodney Perry. I wonder is that the guy?
Right.
And so I wanted him to be able to hear my name and be able to associate me with that.
The name is, I think that the name is quintessential. I used to be Big Hank, and then somebody was like, there's a rapper. And I was like, I'm going to add a G. And then I met Big Hank, and he was like, yo, B, stop.
Ease up, B.
Oh, ease up, son. And I'm like, oh, my bad. He's like, yo, I don't care how many G's you add. And I was like, okay. So I was like, I'll be Hank Benson then. So let me ask you this. The first show, when you knew that this is how you could take care of your family and you were headed on your way. Because, I think it's a time, and I'm going to break some of the history. Me and you have history. So a lot of the stuff that I've learned and that I acquired of knowledge of the comedy business is watching you. I'm going to say that off the back, how to handle it, how to do radio, TV, how to make it a business, how to thrive, how to make a balance. Your balance that you have with family and everything else as a person is an attribute to who you are as a person. Like I've seen you where some people should have got slapped in the mouth and you're like, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're not going to do that. And then I'm like, yo, but hit him. Yo, dude, this is when I was like, Rodney gonna check this dude. But Rodney was like, no, this is a teaching moment. And I was like, man, don't teach these fools nothing. Hurt him. And I when did you know where this is where I was gonna go? Like comedy, this is the date I could do this.
Man, you know what? I'm a vet, like you said. I was in the Navy from 1990 to 1998. I was performing the whole time I was in the Navy. And I had met a couple of comedians that I thought were dope, but they had kind of got lost along the way. Mm-hmm. And so as I became aware of them, I was like, I don't want to be the old dude that used to be funny.
Right.
And so I felt like I had to move right then. Mm-hmm. And, you did my short film, and it's a line in there that says, it was a guy, which it was taken directly from my life. It was a guy that I saw. I thought it was really dope. But, he never would leave his job. He never would totally commit.
Right.
And I felt like in 1998, I was at that crossroad.
Right.
To do 20 years in the Navy or to go pursue my dream. And so to answer your question, I guess, around 98 was that moment for me. Or mentally, I made, you have to mentally make a move before you physically can.
Right.
So I mentally made the move around, late 98.
So you moved, that's when you moved to Cali. That was your California.
That's when I moved to Los Angeles. That's when I got out of the Navy and moved to LA, yeah.
All right. So and you had kids, and you were married and had kids then.
Right. I was so irresponsible. I mean, to look back on it, and go, you know what? Forget. I don't know how I'm gonna feed y'all, but I have to do this. It's the best worst decision I've ever made.
The best worst decision.
It was a horrible decision. Now that I think about it, but I was so selfish that I had to, and I think this business requires that, the selfishness.
Selfishness. I'm learning that now. I'm learning to, I guess, the communication that we have with me and my wife. I try to just be transparent about the dreams and the selfishness that I'm getting ready to have. So then I know, like, I'm gonna do this shit regardless. But I'm letting you know that this is what I'm gonna do. So you can go ahead and start cussing now. You know what I mean?
And I need you.
Yeah.
And I need you to rock with me. But I mean, it's the relationship dynamic is a whole nother dynamic to fuse into this life we live. And but if you win, everybody's happy.
You always winning. I say it like this: you are a walking, living scratch ticket. You never know when you're gonna hit.
That's it.
And just to fast forward everything, I did the Monique Show, the moved family vacation. No, not Johnson Family Reunion.
Johnson Family Vacation.
Right.
Padilla's Big Happy Family. I mean, I've done a lot. I've done a lot of movies. Actually.
You got a lot of tape, bro. Your IMDb is a fat dude.
Well, you know what it is, Hank. I became aware really early in my career that if I wanted people to come see me live, I needed to get on that box,
right?
Television and/or film. And so, as a person that wanted to be on film or television, I had to take acting classes and think of that. And I had to prepare myself for it. So I actively prepared for acting, and so I got those opportunities because of that.
That's dope. I would ask you this: what was your move to Atlanta? This is what I want to say. Thank Monique for whatever they did for their show to be in Atlanta, because I would have never met you, and I don't know how that works.
We might have met because the comedy world is so small, but to cultivate the relationship we have, that probably wouldn't happen if I wasn't here.
Yeah, I took the class. The class did it. Like, I was like, I'm gonna be honest. They were like, "Yo, take the Rodney Perry's improv class," and I'm like, "I don't want to do no improv." And they were like, "No, Rodney Perry's cool." I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't know." And then I got in the class. I was like, "Okay, this dude is real." And then the more and more I felt uncomfortable, the more I felt that I was learning.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I was in there and I was like, "Oh, I got this," that exercise that you do, where you like, you actually say, "Fuck that shit, something else," and I'm like, no,
another choice. And
then
life is about making another choice, because we all have our go-to things. We have our things that we go to that work, and you become a slave to what works. And so that game is designed to push you outside of your comfort zone. So now your comfort zone becomes bigger.
Right.
And so that's the idea behind how that works.
Because what I've watched, and I've watched plenty of shows where you can reset a room. Reset the energy in a room is what you do amazingly well. Better than anybody I've seen. Like, I know comedians, and I've seen cats come in and he smashed, but you leave people with a performance where they're just still screaming after. Like, if anybody's the closing set, if you whatever you decide to do, but if you ever do the popping or any of that, it leaves the energy. And I've seen you do it, Rodney, and I can say this. I've seen you do this in 10 cities. Okay, these are different groups of assholes in every city that's judging and looking, mixed crowd, black. And I've seen you take the energy in the room, and I'm like, okay, he's done. Like, he's tired, right? We're gonna wrap this up. And you'll be like, all right, boom, 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 and the pop locking starts, and they're in line containing that same energy. Where did you learn that? Where did that piece come from?
Well, it's improv. It's what we talked about before. Like, I've always had big closers, whether it was music driven or whatever. And I've always been comfortable enough in the improv space to not be afraid of it. Yeah. And so what you're talking about is just me injecting improv into an otherwise prepared set.
Right.
Stand-up is very much prepared. I know if I say this will happen. If I do X, Y, Z, I know that from the beginning to end. When I start into that popping bit, that is almost 90% improv.
Yeah.
Because the people, who knows what they're gonna do or say, or I just don't know. And so I developed some stock little comebacks, but the reality is the whole thing is an improv moment. And now, as an audience member, I'm part of the show all of a sudden.
Right.
So if I'm watching it, if I'm not dancing, I'm watching, I'm like, yo, this is hilarious.
Right.
I'm in it. And if I'm in it, I'm a star.